States that depend on energy revenue never predicted oil prices would go below $30 a barrel, or worse, stay at these record levels. Several states like Alaska and Louisiana have even seen credit ratings downgraded. Texas, another major oil producer, has been able to balance its budget thanks to a more diverse economy. Experts, however, say a state like Texas can only weather this economic storm for so long. One burgeoning industry taking notice of this problem is offering a solution.
Creating a new marijuana industry in Texas brings more revenue and taxes with it. Whether it's cultivation or manufacturing or production, there's a lot of opportunity for money to be spent and for the government to collect it. And the good thing is this industry knows that it's going to be taxed and they welcome it.
Texas lawmakers have fended off attempts to legalize marijuana for years. But last year they passed a state law allowing for very limited use of cannabis oil or marijuana for patients suffering from seizures or epilepsy. Now advocates for legalizing marijuana say it's only a matter of time before more legislation gets through.
I think that we have tremendous opportunity to improve our economy, to improve our public safety, and to make a healthier Texas. And all kinds of marijuana policy reforms will help us get there.
According to the Marijuana Business Fact Book, the legalized weed industry could pump as much as $44 billion a year into the national economy by the end of 2020.
We're eager to see that opportunity seized in this state. We just have to study it, we have to understand it a little bit better, and then go show lawmakers, this is the real opportunity that we have.
A majority of conservative lawmakers aren't quite as optimistic. Governor Greg Abbott says Texas won't legalize marijuana as long as he's in office, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick opposes it as well. Physicians agree with that position.
Why would we legalize something we know is so incredibly bad for you?
Dr. Harold Urschel works at EnerHealth, a drug and alcohol rehab center in Dallas. He says the notion that marijuana can be safe simply isn't true.
And we see people here at EnerHealth all the time on marijuana. I mean, probably a good 40% of our addicts are either primary marijuana or have it as an important part of, say, their primary alcohol, but they also are using marijuana.
Besides obvious side effects such as slow reaction time, change in depth perception, and the inability to make quick decisions, Urschel says marijuana can pose significant health risks.
Marijuana, when you're smoking it, is 4 times more carcinogenic than a cigarette. So the risk of lung cancer is 4 times greater with marijuana than a cigarette.
The state's powerful Sheriff's Association is also taking a stand, saying it doesn't support making a gateway drug legal. Advocates for legalization argue proper marijuana legislation, like decriminalization, would actually free up cops to focus on more significant crime.
There's a law we've been considering that would remove jail time for a small possession of marijuana and replace it with a simple fine. We find that 88% of serious crimes in Texas went unsolved in 2012. If we take cops away from having to worry about petty crimes and let them focus on the real things that matter, I think people support that.
Dr. G.M. Cox has led a number of Texas police departments, and he disagrees, saying one unintended consequence would be an increase in policing.
Just because something's legalized doesn't mean enforcement's going to go away.
He compares it to alcohol use.
We already have officers that have to enforce alcohol consumption. The results of alcohol consumption is what we call public intoxication. Many times it bleeds over into domestic violence and disorderly conduct. So those officers are still doing that, but they're just not enforcing whether you have that beer legally.
Cox also points out that the number of people driving under the influence would increase significantly. Marijuana affects drivers much like alcohol, but there's a major difference on how long it stays in your system.
The important difference between marijuana and alcohol is this. Alcohol stays in your brain for about 12 to 18 hours. Marijuana stays in your brain for between 7 days to 6 weeks.
Still, even in conservative Texas, there are signs of shifting opinions. One bill passed last year allows cannabis oil in the treatment of epilepsy patients. Supporters hope to take the conversation further, but face a unified team wanting to shut down any momentum. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Dallas, Texas.